Navigating the paradoxical reality of the human spectrum reveals an ironic truth, which is that the most abrasive and annoying individuals in your orbit are often the exact ones who show up when you need help, while those charming companions you adore spending time with are mysteriously absent the moment a crisis hits. This stark contrast exposes the superficial nature of mere entertainment value, reminding us that charm and conversational chemistry carry zero weight when the heavy lifting of real life actually begins. You might find yourself intensely irritated by someone's grating habits, unfiltered bluntness, or irritating mannerisms. Yet when your vehicle breaks down on the side of the highway or an unexpected emergency strikes, that very same person answers the call without a moment's hesitation. Meanwhile, the polished acquaintances whose company feels effortless, fun, and deeply stimulating frequently vanish into thin air the second you require genuine assistance, hiding behind a wall of convenient excuses and busy schedules. This frustrating dynamic forces a complete reevaluation of how we categorize our connections along the vast spectrum of human interaction, proving that superficial agreeableness is a terrible metric for measuring true reliability. The polished conversationalist who lights up the room with witty banter provides wonderful entertainment for an evening, but their commitment evaporates instantly when faced with real inconvenience, treating your difficulties as an unwelcome disruption to their comfort. Conversely, the prickly individual who rubs everyone the wrong way often possesses a deep, unspoken code of honor, valuing functional loyalty and concrete action far above smooth social grace or charming pleasantries. Expecting the same person to provide both sparkling amusement and rock-solid dependability is a frequent mistake, because charm and utility rarely occupy the same psychological space within an individual's character framework. When you map this out across the social spectrum, you realize that annoyance is often just a superficial friction caused by personality mismatches, while reliability is a fundamental character trait that operates entirely independent of social polish. Tolerating a bit of irritation from someone who proves their worth through consistent, dependable action is a small price to pay compared to the bitter disappointment of relying on polished acquaintances who offer plenty of smiles but zero substance when the chips are down. This realization brings profound clarity to the art of non-action and boundary setting, teaching you to stop expecting warmth and utility to always come packaged in the exact same aesthetically pleasing container. You begin to appreciate the rough-around-the-edges characters for their unyielding steadfastness, recognizing that true loyalty often wears an unpolished mask that takes some getting used to. Allowing these contrasting dynamics to play out without frantic micromanagement demonstrates the true power of the non-decision, letting people reveal their true colors over time rather than judging them by their initial conversational appeal. When you stop trying to force everyone to fit an idealized mold of both charming company and instant availability, the natural sorting mechanism of life does the work for you, separating the reliable rocks from the empty talkers. Embracing this paradox clears away the resentment of unmet expectations, leaving you with a grounded, highly practical understanding of who you can actually count on when the real storms of existence finally roll in. This stark dichotomy between sparkling charm and gritty reliability exposes the profound illusion of social packaging, reminding us that an individual's outward presentation has almost zero correlation with their internal code of honor. When the polished conversationalists who make every hour feel effortless vanish at the first sign of inconvenience, they reveal a hollow core masked by excellent social skills, proving that entertainment value and steadfast dedication belong to entirely different universes. Meanwhile, the abrasive personalities whose eccentricities or sharp edges grate on your nerves day after day often harbor an unshakable reservoir of functional loyalty, stepping into the breach with quiet competence the exact second real trouble arrives. This realization completely shatters the naive assumption that comfort equals character, teaching you to value the heavy currency of dependable action far above the lightweight currency of smooth pleasantries. Mapping this paradox across the vast spectrum of human interaction reinforces the wisdom of strategic non-interference, because trying to reshape annoying people into charming companions, or forcing flaky acquaintances into reliable pillars, is a complete waste of emotional energy. Allowing individuals to simply occupy their natural places along the continuum without frantic management lets their true utility reveal itself organically over time, saving you from the bitter sting of misplaced expectations. You stop judging books by their covers or dismissing rough-hewn allies because of minor social frictions, recognizing that a diamond in the rough is infinitely more valuable than a polished glass bead that shatters under the slightest pressure. This clear-eyed perspective transforms how you invest your trust, anchoring your appreciation in demonstrated reliability rather than superficial charm, and honoring the quiet, unglamorous truth that true loyalty frequently wears an unpolished face. This clear-eyed perspective transforms how you invest your trust, anchoring your appreciation in demonstrated reliability rather than superficial charm, and honoring the quiet, unglamorous truth that true loyalty frequently wears an unpolished face. Embracing these contrasting realities allows you to navigate the sprawling spectrum of human connection without illusions, recognizing that true substance almost never comes wrapped in a flawless package. Letting people be exactly who they are, whether they are abrasive rocks who show up in a crisis or smooth acquaintances who fade away when things get heavy, eliminates the exhaustion of constant social friction. When you stop fighting these natural imbalances and lean into the power of the non-decision, the entire social landscape settles into a stable equilibrium where expectations match reality precisely. You stop demanding that every single relationship serve every possible function, learning instead to appreciate each person for their exact placement along the spectrum of your existence without forcing an unnatural fit. This grounded acceptance preserves your inner peace, protecting your sanctuary from the constant disappointment of expecting water from a dry well or deep loyalty from a fair-weather companion. As you continue moving forward through the complex web of human dynamics, this calm detachment ensures that you remain entirely unfazed by surface-level flaws, deeply grateful for the unglamorous pillars who truly have your back, and completely liberated from the exhausting need to micromanage the unpredictable flow of social life. This clear-eyed perspective transforms how you invest your trust, anchoring your appreciation in demonstrated reliability rather than superficial charm, while extending that same grace to your own evolving perceptions of the people around you. Our initial judgments of others, whether viewing an abrasive ally as a permanent nuisance or a polished acquaintance as a steadfast pillar, are rarely absolute truths, functioning instead as temporary projections shaped entirely by our own internal emotional conditions in any given moment. When stress runs high or vulnerability leaves us raw, our perception easily becomes misinformed, tinting our view of human dynamics with unfair lenses that paint people as heroes or villains, based solely on how well they serve our immediate comfort. Recognizing that these perceptions are neither inherently right nor wrong brings a profound sense of emotional humility, reminding us that our internal weather often distorts the reality of who people actually are across the wider spectrum. True wisdom emerges when we acknowledge our own blind spots, stepping back from rigid mental categorization and allowing room for the quiet realization that everyone is fighting battles we know nothing about. This deep realization naturally extends into the fundamental truth that every single human being possesses an absolute right to choose their own path of growth, requiring us to release the arrogant urge to engineer the evolution of others. People must evolve in their own time, in their own way, and on their own level, entirely unbound by our personal timelines, expectations, or frustrated demands for rapid transformation. Trying to force someone to grow or pressuring them to adopt your perspective is an exercise in utter futility, because genuine interchange cannot be manufactured from the outside or whipped into shape by another person's willpower. When you attempt to micromanage someone else's spiritual or emotional trajectory, you violate their individual autonomy, replacing mutual respect with a heavy-handed attempt at control that only breeds resentment and exhaustion. Embracing the art of non-action means relinquishing the desperate need to fix, upgrade, or correct the people in your orbit, trusting that life's natural pressures will provide the necessary lessons in due time. Everyone walks their unique path at their own pace, stumbling through distinct phases of awakening, stagnation, or confusion, without needing your permission or your unsolicited coaching to validate their journey. Letting go of the illusion that you hold the blueprint for someone else's personal development frees up immense amounts of emotional energy, transforming you from a stressed supervisor into a peaceful, observing witness. When you finally release the burden of trying to steer other people's growth, human dynamics suddenly lose their frantic edge, turning into a harmonious tapestry of diverse souls, each figuring things out at their own speed. This profound acceptance aligns seamlessly with the wisdom of the non-decision, allowing you to observe human behavior without rushing to judgment, overreacting to flaws, or demanding impossible perfection from fallible mortals. By granting others the sacred freedom to evolve entirely on their own terms, you simultaneously liberate yourself from the crushing weight of unmet expectations, securing an unshakable inner peace that remains completely untouched by the unpredictable currents of the world around you. Forcing others to provide you a sense of inner peace and well-being creates a fragile, hollow dependency that fundamentally stunts your own personal evolution. Limiting your associations exclusively to those who feed your ego or mirror your desires builds a comfortable echo chamber, insulating you from the vital friction necessary for genuine self-discovery. When you demand that your environment cater entirely to your validation, you atrophy the emotional muscles required to weather discomfort, turning minor social ripples into catastrophic storms. True strength develops only when you stop outsourcing your stability to external validation, choosing instead to anchor your equilibrium deep within your own unyielding autonomy. Releasing the compulsive need to control how others make you feel allows you to face the unpredictable currents of human dynamics with unshakable resilience and profound inner calm. This radical realization unveils the deeper truth that you are unwittingly the absolute creator of your own emotions, constructing every single feeling from the inside out through your own interpretations, resistance, and expectations. Waiting for the external world, weather, or people to align perfectly before allowing yourself to feel peace is a trap that hands over the steering wheel of your life to random chaos. When you understand that no circumstance has any inherent power to make you angry, sad, or joyful without your direct internal consent, the entire burden of victimhood instantly dissolves into thin air. If you want to experience happiness, you must consciously choose to be happy in any situation whatsoever, remaining entirely unshakable regardless of external turbulence or unpredictable events. External situations are constantly shifting, collapsing, and rearranging themselves beyond your control, meaning that anchoring your emotional state to outer conditions is a guarantee of perpetual suffering and turbulent instability. Choosing joy in the middle of chaos requires an ironclad commitment to self-mastery, shifting your focus away from trying to fix the unfixable world and turning inward to govern your own mind. This deliberate choice is not about blind ignorance or toxic positivity, but rather about recognizing that your inner sanctuary belongs exclusively to you, untainted by whatever temporary fires are burning outside. When external circumstances set up roadblocks, betrayals, or difficult transitions, your emotional response remains your own sovereign domain, waiting for you to exercise the supreme power of conscious interpretation. Stepping into this level of emotional responsibility completely rewires how you navigate relationships, society, and the inevitable curveballs thrown your way by life's unpredictable machinery. You stop blaming acquaintances, annoying allies, or difficult situations for stealing your joy, recognizing that giving away your peace was an inside job all along. Embracing this internal locus of control transforms obstacles into neutral data points, stripping them of their ability to rattle your core or dictate your mood. The art of non-action finds its ultimate expression here, because when you realize you are the sole author of your emotional reality, you stop fighting external shadows and start cultivating unshakable serenity from within. As you anchor your happiness entirely in your own hands, the frantic need to control, manipulate, or rearrange the people and events around you simply falls away, leaving pure, unadulterated freedom in its wake. This profound shift completes the journey through human dynamics, proving that true power lies not in managing the world, but in mastering the internal creator of your own experience through every circumstance imaginable.